Good morning!
Good morning! The sun is shining!
Or good afternoon. I mean, really, you could be listening to this at any time.
I know, but we are in the morning at this moment.
Yeah, we are.
An icy morning with salted roads and a lone sun in the gray blue sky.
The sun's beautiful, though.
It is.
It's like a shiny orb that's just out there to blind me and murder me.
Very bright in the midst of all this salty road.
It comforts me in the middle of fears. Comforts me.
Welcome to this morning with us.
That we are grateful you are here. Yeah, it is a balmy 23. But anyway, Gabrielle.
Yes, Adam.
Do you have snacks in there?
No, I'm finding I have... So we're on our way to church, and I'm looking for... I had stored something in Adam's car a year ago, and it's my mistletoe hair clips.
This was stored there a year ago?
Yeah, I forgot. So last year around Christmas time, Adam and I, were driving together to church probably, and then to Christmas Eve stuff. And I had left, they're like these very sparkly hair clips that I have, but they could be easily broken. So I put them in the, what's this called?
Like my little compartment thing?
Yeah, a little compartment for safekeeping. And I just never got them out of there. I just always forgot that they were still in there. And this morning I was like, oh, it's a Sunday before Christmas Eve, or Christmas. I definitely want to wear my mistletoe hair clips to church. And then I remembered they're still in your car.
They were very safe.
So you have a very safe car, Adam.
I don't really use that compartment, so that kind of...
That's perfect. I think I use your car compartment more than you do.
Yeah,
I have my sunglasses in there too.
Oh, wow.
You didn't know that?
No, I do. I just never go in there. I just don't use it for a lot of excess storage per se.
I guess car compartments are really for your loved one.
Yeah.
In this case. Although I use the one in my car.
Yeah, I don't have anything in your car.
Do girls use car compartments more than guys?
You have more accessories.
Ah, more accessories.
Yeah, I have no accessories.
Yes.
Or I do. I've got my sunglasses right up there.
Oh, yeah. You have one accessory?
Might have a second pair. Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Might have a second pair of sunglasses in there, actually.
Yeah, I think they're mine. I put them in there. Yeah, they're my other pair. For you to use. I gave them to you, remember?
No.
The black ones. You like them?
Oh, the Kingsway ones. Yeah. No, those are great. Actually, I got a new pair of cheap ones just the other day from like a printing company that sent it to work.
Love that.
Yeah. So those are my favorite type of sunglasses because, you're going to lose your sunglasses.
Yeah.
So you might as well have really cheap ones that you don't feel any attachment to.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Absolutely. I can feel attached to the cheap ones, though.
I can. Yeah. I do feel sad, but I feel way less broken than if I spent like $15 on them.
Yes.
Yeah. I do feel sad when I lose a good pair of glasses, but...
Agreed.
Hurts way less than like a full pair. Anyway.
Anyway, what are we discussing?
Today we are doing our origin story. How do we start to create a podcast?
Yes.
And
our beginnings.
Our beginnings, our begatting, if you will.
That's right.
How did this all happen? Well, it was a dark and scary night. Gabby and I were pondering and pontificating on many things. But actually, it wasn't nighttime. I was just doing that to be screwy. And then, no, it actually did start at a nighttime.
Yeah, I think so.
That we were on our way back from Gabby's favorite place in the world.
Where?
Williamsburg, Virginia.
Yes, we were on our way. Oh, yes, we had been in Williamsburg.
Did you forget where we were coming from?
Yes.
Okay.
And so it was a long drive.
Yeah, it's like from where we are in New Jersey to Williamsburg. It's like a 6-hour drive.
Absolutely.
But on our way back, we also hit some terrible traffic. So it probably smeared more towards like an 8-hour drive.
Yeah.
So, which is just, it's rough, especially when you're not prepared for an 8-hour drive.
Yeah.
So we had done a couple things on the drive back. Like we have really good conversation time, but like 8 continuous hours or 6 continuous hours of talking can be a little tough for any couple.
Right, and we had just been on a trip, just the two of us, for like 2 days.
Yeah, so we had a lot of one-on-one communication.
Yeah.
So we had downloaded shows from Netflix onto the iPad, and we played them through the stereo, and they were like the episodes of The Office or Friends. Mm-hmm. So like we knew what they were, so you didn't even need to look at them when driving. Yeah. It was like listening to a car radio.
Yes.
So we had probably like, I want to say we had like 2 or 3 hours of those actually downloaded.
Yeah.
That obviously did not make it on the trip.
No.
And then?
Well, we listened to a couple of them.
Oh, we listened to all of them.
Yeah, we did them all, right? And then we were done. And we were like, that was such a good idea. Now what do we do?
Yeah. Yeah, and we would pace them out. And it was nice. Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't because we, lack things to talk about. It was just, it's a long time.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, it was real. We've actually done that a number of times since.
Yeah.
We did that with Lost, but that was more because...
We just had to get through Lost, though.
Lost was beautiful.
It was beautiful, but we needed we needed to watch it.
Yeah, we needed
to finish it.
Yeah.
So we watched the episodes, we talked, and then how did it come up?
We were really delayed, and we were struggling, I think.
Oh yeah.
So we started looking at podcasts because it's...
That's right.
We were thinking, maybe we could find a podcast that could be, entertaining. So, you found the first one. I think it was called Drunk Ex-Pastors.
Yes, I did find that.
And it was just...
Terrible.
Yeah, if you're the Drunk Ex-Pastors listening, we're sorry.
Oh, sure. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not that sorry, though, because it was terrible.
It was, it's kind of like the opposite in a lot of ways. And
Yes.
we tried listening to it. And part of the big challenge for us, though, was it seemed to ramble on with not really going anywhere.
Yeah.
So, because they're this podcast was almost 2 hours long. And I actually listened to a couple throughout the year to get a better feel. It just went going. And
Yeah. I think my main issue is that I was just completely against the whole idea of them. But then we were thinking, well, it's an interesting title, so maybe are they going to go somewhere with this? But we really felt like they went nowhere with it.
Yeah, it was a tough
we didn't
one.
get far into that one. And then we looked at another one, and it was like a couple.
Yeah. So kind of, it was a couple. Kind of completely opposite, though.
Yes, very opposite.
They were it was a 5-10 minute podcast.
Yep.
And it was just, extremely...
structured and scripted.
Yeah. And it was at first, when I heard the intro, what they were doing, I thought, it makes sense. It's a little scripted, but I thought, oh, okay, you're giving the last, you had the summer off, you're giving a 3-minute highlight reel. I'm okay, that's cool. You're giving and which makes sense. You need to be structured for that. But it was the podcast. And it was oh my gosh.
It was so funny because in a matter of just a little, a couple minutes, randomly searching, we had found such a variety of types.
Yeah.
So it really got us thinking about it. Yeah, so we were thinking about what would we what did we like? So we started debriefing them instead of listening to the podcast because it's also hard to find a topic that you like right away. So they weren't really talking about things we were interested in. So we instead started debriefing the nature of the podcast,
very true.
What you like, what I liked.
Yeah, and we got through some of it. We liked we kind of liked in some ways the format between the two. Not necessarily the content of the first. Not the content of the first. Not necessarily.
No.
But, okay, the one thing I did have to say is the two guys in the first one had, great, relationship. Clearly, they were comfortable talking to each other and, knew each other. And there was a niceness with the rambling. Unfortunately, just seemingly woo, where are you going here? You're not landing. But the second one was, okay, the structure, although it was kind of, very detailed, was super nice because it was okay, you do know that they're going somewhere each time with this. They've got a game plan going on.
Sure.
So we thought, could you combine the two of those? And then because we had 4 or 5 hours still to talk, we thought, why didn't we start a podcast?
We're still in this car with each other for 4 more hours.
We could have filmed so many podcasts on that trip if we had just started them. Imagine. We would have run out of memory on our memory card on here.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then we started saying, what if we did this? And
it was Gabby's idea, to be fair. I want to be very clear. It was her idea.
I do think that I had thought about it before, like a fleeting thought. But I had never brought it up to Adam. I never brought it up to you because...
Really?
Yeah, because I thought, I actually thought, okay, if I bring this up to you, I better really mean it. Because I know that your follow-through is strong.
Ooh.
And if I bring this up, I think you're going to like the idea. And if I don't mean it, I shouldn't bring it up. Because then it's not right. But if I mean it, and I'm willing to actually, do it and play around with it with you, then it's a good idea to bring it up.
It's a good call.
So I remember having that thought, so I wasn't ready to bring it up. But after our conversation, on the drive from Williamsburg. We were really fleshing it out. And I remember even in that moment thinking, should I even say this? Because Gabrielle, if you are not willing to actually do a podcast and like do this with Adam, don't bring it up. Because he will find out how to do this, you know?
Yeah, it was a wild ride.
And sure enough, we brought it up. And I mean, to be honest, for myself, if without you, I would have just brought it up. It would have been a conversation. We would have talked about it. And maybe we would have talked about it like in another year, and that would have been it. But you decided to go home, order the materials needed.
Yeah, none of which
amazing.
we actually end up using.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
no, we used the microphone.
No, that was actually for like a different microphone.
Oh, really?
Well, this one's more of like, so we use, how we film this and why you might hear all this background sound is if you're a podcaster, we do this in our car while we're driving. So, you know, we're crazy like that. But we film it on a GoPro using a Rode microphone with the accoutrement to attach into the GoPro.
Right. Well, what did you buy that we didn't use?
It was like a regular microphone. We can use it. It's just it wouldn't work as easily in a car setting.
Oh my gosh, that's hysterical. You're right.
Yeah, I think, my original concept of how we were filming this was probably a little different.
You're right.
Which isn't bad. This actually is so much more convenient.
Yes, because you have this cool microphone and it has like, you know how a boom microphone has the fluffy stuff on the outside?
Oh, we actually have that for this one too.
Oh, wow. So it had the fluffy. Why do you have the fluffy?
That's like wind noise.
Oh.
I wonder if we should try that on here.
We probably should now that we say it. So anyway, but you bought that cool microphone and then you tested it.
And it worked.
And we had it.
Yeah.
And we haven't used it. But maybe we should interview our friends. Maybe we should bring that to Christmas Eve and interview people with the microphone. We just thought of a great idea. We're going to do that.
Yes, we are.
I love it.
The Christmas Eve, for context in this, is 2 days from now. We are on the 22nd. Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve?
Is the 24th.
You want to do it on the 24th?
Oh, well, I guess we could do it Christmas Eve or Christmas Day.
Yeah, I thought you'd want to do Christmas Day.
Yeah, but it'd be kind of funny. So on Christmas Eve, we get to celebrate with more my dad's side of the family, and then Christmas Day is more my mom's side. And Christmas Eve, my goddaughter.
Oh, that's who you're talking about.
So I think she would be the funniest to interview.
That would be adorable. That would be adorable.
She's the cutest. Yeah. So anyway, that's the thought. But okay, so we bought the things. Then when we were initially talking about it, we were talking about doing the podcast just like if we're at home, like doing it. But did you must have thought of doing it in the car.
I think at some point I thought about that. That was next summer. So we did all this in November.
November was when we thought of it.
And then we started in July.
And we started in July, yeah.
Yeah, we ended up, the springtime ended up being kind of crazy busy, and it just didn't work out.
Yeah, like anything, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think July we came up with the idea of doing it in the car.
Yeah.
Because that was like, we love doing it, but it's hard to kind of clear out all the time on a weekly basis to do something like that.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But we found, because we have a little bit of a commute, that doing it in the car was like, oh my gosh, so much more comfortable and easy. And we have so many of our great conversations in the car.
True.
It was natural. It's organic.
In the car. It's true. So then we had to think of our title.
Yes. Oh, that was a
title of the podcast. And let's see. We had thought about. Do you remember any of our other titles?
Oh, I don't remember.
I can't quite remember.
I'm sorry if you're listening to me ramble on with my sleepies.
I can't remember. But we ended up with How Do You Say Yaros?
Yeah, what was the other one?
And, oh man.
That's going to bother me.
We'll remember.
Yeah.
We'll get it.
How Do You Say Yaros ended up being our title.
Yeah.
And this came from a great question Gabby once asked me.
Yes. So when we were... I asked this to Adam when we were just engaged. We probably only engaged like a month. And I turned to him and, there are times where you go to your person that you're with and you're like, I have a serious question for you. You know how you do that? And Adam, whenever he does that, it's usually not a serious question. So to do that to him is kind of funny. So I said to him, I was like, okay, I'm going to preface this. This is serious. And he couldn't tell if it was serious or not serious, probably.
And it was serious.
It was kind of serious. And so I was like, okay, we are now going to get married. And I will be taking your name. So when we've been dating, I've noticed that when you introduce yourself to people, you say your name many different ways. He might say, I'm Adam Yaros, Adam Yaros, Adam Yaros. Like, he says all different... You wouldn't even think there's that many ways to say Y-A-R-O-S.
Actually, I don't even remember saying my last name to people.
No, but I was listening for it because you did say it.
I actively work on not saying my last name.
I know you actively work against it, but there are times where you have to say your full name.
It repulses me.
And so I would listen to it.
Is enough.
As a girl dating you, I had to listen.
I feel like we
it.
talked about this before we got engaged.
No, I waited until we were engaged.
Yeah?
I'm pretty sure. I'm really pretty sure that I waited until we were engaged because I thought there's no point in asking it before.
Fair.
But then we were engaged, and so I was like, okay. And I said, so I've noticed this about you. You say it many different ways. How do you say your last name?
Yep, it was a great question, and then I was real, like, I gave my story. I have no idea how to say my last name. So, like, growing up, I heard it probably, like, multiple ways from my parents. Gabby said I said it different ways. My parents said it different ways. My teachers called me different ways. Like, people in my, like, my grandparents in their neighborhood used to call and spell my last name different ways. So, like, I had no idea. And, in fact, like, when I was in school, in seminary, one of my friends in Austin asked, hey, Adam, how do you say your last name? Because I think he was confused, probably hearing that different ways or, like, uncertain. I said, I don't know. So he asked, well, how do you say it? And I said, I don't know how I say it. So he said, just say your last name now, and we'll go with that. So for about 2.5 years, I did not say my last name in public. And that's where I actively worked, like, you know, when you introduce yourself, like, hi, I'm Adam Yaros. I would just say, hi, I'm Adam, and leave it there. Like, everybody else would be full names, I'm Adam. And he was, my friend Austin was furious over this because I just refused to comply because I didn't know how I said it. In fact, I didn't even care. I just did not want to give the satisfaction of you got to pick how my name is from, like, one time I've said this. So I told Gabby, I have no idea. But I would ask my parents then because, like,
right.
She said, you know, take some time, think about it, like, which was great. And, you know, I called up my mom and dad at some point in the next, like, few weeks, and, hey, how do we actually say our last name? And my dad gave me, like, a brief history of our last name, and I said, I don't really know. And they still don't know to this day. So Gabby asked me, like, 2 weeks later, so did you talk to your parents, or, like, how do you say it? I said, no answer.
Yeah. He said, yeah, I did talk to them, and they don't really know, and I don't know. And I said, okay, well, do you have a preference?
Nope.
And he said, no. And I said, all right, then I will choose. In that case, I will choose.
Yep.
And I chose Yaros.
It's about as fair as you could be.
And I said, that is how we say our name then. Because I need to know how we say our name.
Need to know.
And our children, our children someday will need to know how to say their name. And they will say Yaros.
Yaros.
Adam. And it will be Yaros. And that is why the title
I'm not
became...
shaking my head if you can't see.
How do you say Yaros? Because of Adam's confusion. And therefore confusion to the rest of the world.
Yeah, you know, I mean, our kids will say it how they want to say it.
It actually I didn't even think about this, but a large time while we were dating, when you would meet, like, anytime you went to a party where you met my family, and I remember there was a time when we were dating where I felt like every weekend you were meeting new family members.
You have a big family.
And it started early, like, month number 2, he was meeting my aunts. Like, he was meeting family very quickly.
Well, they're over your house. So
I know. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I, like, waited to meet you. You know.
Yeah, very true. Yeah.
Quickly.
You were not anti, like.
No.
You were not secretive.
No, but it was over a long period of time. So meeting my family, but I remember he would meet family, he would introduce himself as, or if you went to a big party, you would always introduce yourself as, hi, I'm Adam, I belong to Gabby.
Yep.
That's what you would say.
Yeah,
and people loved it, let me tell you.
And it got me out of saying my last name,
I didn't even realize it was about the last name.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, okay.
Well, it was more of giving social context of, like,
who I'm
you
with.
clearly don't belong here. So why are you here?
Well, it was a big hit with the old ladies.
It ended up being a great line.
Yeah. Any future boyfriends, that was a big hit. The old ladies loved it.
Well, and it was good too, especially like I felt like you liked it too because if I was
I
talking to
loved
like
it.
a younger,
In
like
1 mile,
especially like a
turn
younger
right.
person,
I loved it.
like it was just
Like,
like
darn right he belongs
like
to me,
it was
girl.
good. You know exactly where you belong.
I did love that.
It was not actually a worry about like people vying, but it was
No, but it was very sweet. It was very honoring.
It was very clear about where I was and
It
what I
was
was
also
doing.
very clear. It was incredibly sweet. I think a lot of people liked it for different reasons. But yeah, I think the ladies liked it because it showed like really nice honoring of me. And then I think the men liked it because they were like, smooth move, dude.
Well-
Like you're making all the girls happy right now. Nice.
Oh gosh.
Oops.
Yeah, no,
we're
that's
just
good.
watching some people be a little crazy with the cutting
That
off.
eventually, if we keep filming in here, we will definitely see. We'll probably get pulled over for speeding at some point.
Oh, I really
That'll be
hope
a
not.
great episode.
Oh, no.
We will not stop filming.
Oh my goodness.
No.
Please no. Let that not happen.
That would be amazing.
It might happen though.
Oh, it'd be so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Now, well, I think the guys liked it because it gave you exactly
Use
the
the right
context
lane
of
to their
all
right
the
onto
information you
Newtown
needed.
Yeah,
Laurel
they
Road.
liked the context, and I think they also were like, nice move, dude. Nice move. So, yeah. So, thank you for listening to our Genesis story,
How do you say Yaris?
the origin.
You didn't catch that.
Yaros!
There we are.
They're right.
Thanks for
Turn
joining
left
us.
onto
Ta-ta!
Newtown Mountain
Charlie ho.
Road.